Today, we're unpacking one of the most bizarre, fascinating, and honestly entirely unprecedented stories in modern digital history. We're tracking the sudden explosive rise of the Cockroach Janta Party, or the CJP. What we're going to look at today is the absolutely wild, true story of how a satirical internet joke, sparked by just a single passing comment, snowballed into a massive, organized political pressure group in less than a week back in May 2026. It's literally a masterclass in how internet culture and deep socioeconomic frustration can collide to create something totally new. To really grasp the sheer scale of what we're talking about, you just need to look at one number: 20 million. By May 22nd, 2026, which was just days after it was created, this movement had already amassed over 20 million followers across social media. That is a staggering amount of human attention. We're not talking about a pop star dropping an album or a major global brand campaign here. We're talking about a satirical movement that didn't even exist a week prior. The sheer volume really sets the stage for the insane scale of our story today. So how on earth did this happen? Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, The Courtroom Spark. A fateful remark on May 15th, 2026. Every massive fire starts with a spark, right? Well, for the CJP, that spark actually happened during a Supreme Court hearing. The Chief Justice of India, Surya Kat, was pulling up a lawyer over a frivolous petition, and he made an oral observation about online activists. Here is the exact quote. There are youngsters like cockroaches who don't get any employment. Some of them become media, some of them become social media, RTI activists, and other activists, and they start attacking everyone. As you're going to see, that specific word, cockroaches, became the absolute catalyst for everything that followed. Now, it's really important to highlight the massive gap between the intent here and the perception. See, the CJI actually intended to target people entering professions using fake or bogus degrees, and he even issued a clarification the very next day. But by then, public perception had already taken the wheel. The cockroach comparison just spread like wildfire. For millions of young Indians who are facing genuine severe crises like mass unemployment and exam paper leaks, this label felt like a direct personal attack. The emotional reaction was already locked in. Section 2, Launching the Cockroach Party. The voice of the lazy and unemployed. All that widespread anger really needed a vessel, and Avijit Dipke is the guy who provided it. He was a 30-year-old digital communications strategist and a Boston University student, formerly with the Aam Aadmi Party, who saw all this outrage and just brilliantly harnessed it. He satirically announced a brand new political party for all the called-out cockroaches. Now, what's really interesting about this is the brilliant absurdity of the branding. Their slogan: Voice of the Lazy and Unemployed. The ideological tagline: secular, socialist, democratic, lazy. He perfectly weaponized sarcasm, taking what was meant as an insult and wearing it like a badge of honor to unite a deeply frustrated demographic. I want to walk you through the timeline of the first week, just to anchor the dizzying, snowballing speed of the movement. On May 15th, you have the Supreme Court remark. Boom. Just 24 hours later, on May 16th, the CJP officially launches. Fast forward to May 19th, it hits 3 million followers. 2 days later, 15 million. And by May 22nd, it absolutely shatters the 20 million follower mark. When we talk about internet virality, things usually take time to build momentum, right? Well, this didn't build. It literally exploded. Section 3, Unprecedented Viral Growth. Overtaking the Giants. The raw data behind this virality is just astounding. 3 million followers gained in just 78 hours. Armed with really sharp sarcasm, high-quality digital animations, and these relentless anti-establishment memes, the page completely hijacked the algorithm. Every share, every comment from a frustrated youth just compounded the reach, creating this unstoppable digital wave. And this brilliantly illustrates how this explosive growth had actual, real-world implications in the landscape of Indian politics. By late May 2026, the CJP was sitting at over 15 million Instagram followers, officially dwarfing the social media presence of India's established political titans, the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party and the Indian National Congress. Think about that. A meme page that was less than 5 days old had completely overtaken the digital footprint of institutions that have been around for decades. Section 4, Stepping into Reality. From Memes to Movements. But the satire was really just the hook. The substance of this was deeply rooted in serious, systemic socioeconomic frustrations. The CJP actually began targeting real-world vulnerabilities. They focused heavily on mass youth unemployment, which, of course, was the exact nerve that the initial cockroach remark poked at. They also rallied around specific real-time crises, like the devastating NEET UG 2026 exam paper leak. They weren't just posting jokes anymore, you know? They were actively directing their massive audience toward structural failures. Let's move to and see how this builds, because this momentum quickly spilled right out of the digital world and into the physical one. Online, their tactics stayed consistent, sharp sarcasm, digital animations, the whole shebang. But offline, you actually had volunteers organizing genuine community service. They were doing cleanup drives along the Yamuna River while literally dressed in physical cockroach costumes. It is such an incredible contrast of utter absurdity paired with actual civic duty. By late May, these decentralized chapters were even considering fielding real independent youth candidates for local elections. They were literally trying to put cockroaches on the ballot in Bihar. Section 5. Backlash and Resilience. The Digital Crackdown. Naturally, you can't disrupt the political landscape to this degree without causing some serious friction. On May 21st, the establishment pushed back, and the official CJPX account was withheld in India. But Abhijit Deepke's response? Lightning fast. He immediately launched a backup handle titled Cockroach is Back, and within mere hours, that backup account regained tens of thousands of followers. You couldn't just turn off their microphone, the audience simply followed them to a new one. The backup handle featured a perfectly on-brand, completely defiant new bio, "Cockroaches don't die." It really underscored the unyielding, persistent energy of this whole movement. They took an attempt to silence them and instantly converted it into more momentum, really leaning into the biological reality of their namesake. They are incredibly hard to get rid of. At this point, the political establishment had to react. Mainstream opposition figures started acknowledging the massive data point that the CJP represented. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor publicly criticized the blocking of the account as deeply unwise. He stated that the CJP's rise reflected a genuine youth anger that mainstream politics could no longer ignore. So the crucial point is that this joke had literally forced its way into the halls of power, demanding to be recognized. Which leaves us with a final, really pressing question. Is this the future of meme-driven political movements? The Cockroach Janta party showed us that deep-seated frustration, when mixed with internet culture and sharp sarcasm, can mobilize tens of millions of people in a matter of days. It bypasses traditional media completely and organizes at the exact speed of the internet. As digital natives become the primary voting bloc, will the political revolutions of tomorrow start with an internet meme? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and keep questioning what's next.